Hey guys, Gemma from ASD Rocks. Now, why am I saying that? Someone wrote to me and said, hi Gemma from, thinking my name was Gemma from, like F-R-O-M-M-E or something. I don't know. So, because every time I say, hi Gemma from ASD Rocks, I guess it's a little bit like the way people introduce themselves on the news, but of course I've never done that. So they'd be like, welcome to Channel 9 News, or Peter Hitchner from Channel 9 News. I don't know, I think he's Channel 10, but it doesn't matter. I get what you're saying. So my name is not Gemma from, I'm just saying that it's Gemma from ASD Rocks. I suppose I could get rid of the from altogether. It wouldn't make a difference, would it? I could just go, hey guys, Gemma, ASD Rocks. Turn off now if you're not interested in a generic blah, because this is just a basic, this is what's been going on thing. This isn't going to affect or change your life in any way or help you necessarily. Does anyone know how the autism, like, symbol, excuse me, went from puzzle piece to infinity? I'm really curious about that. I know there was this, I know when I first started up, like, a few years ago, bunch of people, because I created a little logo for myself, and I was like, you know, really into sort of making ASD Rocks a bit more, you know, recognizable. And I used this multicolored puzzle piece because that's what I had seen other people using in regard, not a multicolored one, but just, it was a blue outline and it had in multicolors underneath, ASD Rocks. You'll probably see it in some older footage. So I was contacted by like a number of people from America specifically, saying that the puzzle piece was equivalent to the swastika. Clearly not a Jewish person. And that there was a particular company who used that blue puzzle piece as a logo, and it was, and they were, I don't know, it was an autism company, so I don't know how hating of autism they could have been, but you get what I'm saying. Like, the puzzle piece has become quite a recognized thing, and now I don't know what the evolution to an infinity symbol is. I don't understand how that happened. Either enough people, I guess, jumped up and down about a puzzle piece equating to Hitler's swastika, which I still can't understand. How bad can this company have gone? I mean, if they haven't killed someone, you can't really equate it to that, can you? But I'm curious about the evolution. So if anybody knows about the evolution of how it went from puzzle piece to, I mean, you know me, I hate labels, symbols, all of that sort of stuff. Anyway, I'm not going to start using it. I don't care if it's on a flag or if it's not. Like I've always maintained and I've always said, if I ever have a label, it's going to say, hello, my name is Gemma. That's the only label I'm interested in, regardless, because I am Gemma. It doesn't matter what diagnoses make me up. Ultimately, I am me. So unless I need funding and have to use one of my diagnoses to get that, or, you know, unless I need someone to understand perhaps why I speak so loud, not that that's a diagnosis, that's just a disability. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I think I went through a vlog recently about that. But ultimately I can't hear my own voice, so I have to project for it to bounce off wherever I am for me to be able to hear it. It's a bit like you guys being underwater. That's what it's like. I can hear everyone else, no problem, but I cannot hear inside my own head. So I'm literally using my own voice to hear myself, and I have to use it bouncing off. So if we're in a big room, and because it's always been that way, because I was born with that, and we didn't find out until I was oh gosh, like in my 30s. My parents never checked out why I was sort of yelling all the time. They just kept telling me to shut up. But yeah, unless there's an issue, I don't usually say, oh look, that's my this diagnosis or that diagnosis or whatever. I don't care. I am Gemma. I am made up of a number of different diagnoses because we have so many today. But I am curious, just because I don't like labels and I don't like being I actually find labels quite confining. We have ASD and we have autism, and because the autistic world, community as a whole, one of the definitions of autism, one of the most common definitions of autism, is very much the inability, that things are very one-sided, very black and white, the inability to see things from another perspective. So autistic people are often, and when I say they, please keep in mind, I am talking about a whole community. Otherwise I would be saying just, or, right? When I say, I'm saying they, the community. I'm already preempting all of these people jumping up and down at me and saying, oh, we're not all like that. No, we're not all like that. But to get an autism diagnosis, there are certain markers. There are 3-4 certain markers you have to be able to get an autism diagnosis. And one of them is your receptive communication. There has to be a cognitive developmental problem with your receptive and expressive communication, which means you have difficulty understanding someone else's expressive communication. And often, from my experience, they can be extremely rigid on their beliefs. So, for example, we have a lot of autistic people or people with autism on this page. And I swear I have broken down wars on this page about whether people say people with autism or autistic people. Now, you have that's 4. You have 2 legitimate groups. One called People First, and the other one which says autism isn't an accessory, right? So it's not a person with autism, like I'm wearing earrings. These are 2 legitimate groups that exist. The People First language and the accessory language. And nothing is going to bring either of them to say, why don't we just call ourselves whatever we want to call ourselves? It's the same with Asperger's. I actually had to ban someone from the page because here, this is that one place, right? And I will do this. I will absolutely do this, guys. Do not doubt that if I find someone bullying for language that they identify with, and trust me, you know me, I'm talking about genders and da-da-da. I'm talking about language, and I'm not talking about pronouns. I'm just talking about some people like to still consider themselves Asperger's or Aspies. And just because it's been removed from the diagnostic manual, the DSM, does not mean that they can't still describe themselves that way. I understand that for this one woman, she took it, what did she say? It was like a personal insult to her. And then she went on about Asperger, Dr. Asperger, we really should call it Dr. Asperger's, but anyway, it being a Nazi, which he wasn't actually. He was from he wasn't German. He was from, oh my God, Vienna. Where the hell? What country is that? I'm so blank today. Starts with A. I'm sure it starts with A. Help me. The country next to bloody Germany, where Vienna is. You're all going to write it down now. I know it's going to happen. I'm just having a blank, all right? I'm just having a blank. Austrian. Sorry, thank you. He was from Austria. And he didn't do his actual experiments. Yes, it was in the 40s, but it was actually after what he wasn't experimenting on Jewish children. But what he did know was that Hitler had been killing all children of all disabilities because it brought down it brought down the superpower strength of his super community, or whatever it was that he wanted to make. I'm literally blank today. I can't even think. Race. My God, I better get checked for early onset. There's another diagnosis I can have, or pretend to have and use if I just forget things. No, I'm early onset. I'm actually too young for early onset, so I'm not concerned. Anyway, so he was not a Nazi. He was Austrian. His experiments, his research was specifically on higher functioning, right? That's how the term Asperger's came about, to describe higher functioning children. It separated that lower end of the spectrum where kids were non-verbal, where they were, institutionalized not that long ago, because they were rocking and flapping. He was the instigator of people. No, well, he wasn't. It was actually Lorna Wing who found his work was mostly lost because it was during and after the war that most of his stuff was taking place, that he was doing. But he wasn't a Nazi. He was just a doctor, an Austrian doctor. Wrong time, wrong place. I mean, you're not going to get, you can't equate him to Mengele. Just think, people are they're so crazy to say the puzzle piece is like a swastika flag, and to say that Dr. Asperger was the equivalent of Mengele. You guys really need to do your research, because you're saying you're offended. But I'm insanely offended by what you are saying. So yeah, it's, oh, look, my neighbour's driving again. They took her license away for a while. Oh, I'm not sure she should be driving. Anyway, so my point about all these labels and these symbols and these sorts of things, this woman was she could not, like, I got involved and someone had said, oh, my kid's Aspie, and she just took to her like it was, like as if someone had come out and said something there's a group of people that I spoke with, and they use the R word. They call it the R word in quotes. Now, I don't actually have a problem with saying the word retarded. I understand that people do, but I look at the word as it was meant to be made. The same way a faggot is actually a bundle of sticks. The same way a puff is something to put your feet on, in the same way that gay meant happy, right? Retarded means slow. That's it. Behind, slow. And the fact that children take these words and turn them into insults shouldn't mean that we all have to stop using the words as they were meant to be used. If I want to call a puff at home, you know, to get the kids to bring, I've got a matching armchair and puff. My grandfather always called it a puff. The guy was born in 1912. Puff didn't exist. So I grew up with that word, and that's what I call it. I'm not insulting the inanimate object or furniture, and I'm not saying that gay people are to have their feet rested on. I'm just calling it what it was made and called. But this woman reacted as if this person saying Asperger's was like she'd come out, she'd come out and use the N-word. That I won't say because it's not in my demographic, and it's not in my, I'm pretty well covered with just about everything. I can do disability jokes, I can do Jew jokes, I can do women jokes. There are a couple of areas that I cannot touch and I will not touch because it's not my demographic, and I won't make fun of it. But I said to her, hey, listen, this place, this ASD Rocks is a place where we all get to just be who we want to be. With label, without label. A label that you identify with or a label you don't. Some are label proud. I saw an amazing tattoo on someone. They had most gorgeous tattoo. He was both I don't even know what we're doing now. Homosexual isn't a word anymore, it would seem. Gay is the now accepted term. I don't know. He was homosexual. And as well as autistic. And this was when I did that whole LGBTQIA plus autism thing. And he sent me the most beautiful, he had a tattoo here. It was a red heart in the middle. See if I can take a photo of it. And a puzzle piece, 4 puzzle pieces in different colors on the outside of the heart. So they all the inside of the pieces made a heart, and then the outside were all puzzle pieces. And it was his, and he identified very strongly with, that was pride for him, pride of both. And it was beautiful. And I don't have a problem if anybody wants to tattoo a flag on themselves or tattoo a puzzle piece or tattoo an infinity. I do have a problem when people start mandating how a flag should look, representing a bunch of people that they don't have the permission. There's a lot of people in the LGBTQ community that have become quite offended by this new infinity thing. I was watching one. I'm going to see if I can share it. It was on Instagram, and it was can we still say lesbian? I don't know. That's L for LGB. It was a lesbian woman, and she got on. She's like, she's German because she's got this gorgeous accent, beautiful looking woman, and she's looking straight to the camera and she's like, are you guys just taking the piss out of us now? Are you serious? And she's telling all her followers about having had the LGBTQ thing added to, the infinity thing being added. And she's like, they're just taking the piss out of us now. Like, seriously. The two are so completely not connected. And obviously she has issues with other things that have gone on the flag, because I think there's 50 flags on the flag now or something like that. And And yeah, I think that when it comes to the autistic community, which I am included in, so let's not start jumping up and down in more than one way. And I do believe if you are the full-time carer of an autistic person, you are part of that community. And I know that there are a lot of autistic people out there that don't see carers as valid people that should have support because they're not the ones with autism and they're not the ones that are going through it. Yeah, you wouldn't have, I mean, if you truly had a level of autism that impacted your life and you needed a carer, I can guarantee you, you would not have survived or made it to being able to communicate your expression of disapproval if you hadn't had a carer. And if you're so self-centered that you can't see what sacrifices were made for you to stand there and stamp your feet and hold your breath, then that's not, that's just self-centered, rude, and it's not even necessarily autistic. That's just self-indulgent. So yeah, I'm going to wrap it up now because I've been going for way too long on this rant. But if anybody knows this evolutionary process, I'd really be interested, just because I love learning about things. It's like kind of felt overnight. I didn't even know that the infinity symbol was being considered. I didn't even know the puzzle piece was out. I don't spend my days looking after these sorts of things because I've got an actual human to look after. I've got people to help. I'm not sitting at home doodling a flag because I got time on my hands. I actually have people that I need to spend my time looking after, and if I'm not doing that, I have people that are in need of help. But this one's for me, guys, so if you know how that happened, I'd be really curious. Stephen, shut up. Stop Googling it right now. Anybody else but Stephen, I'm really interested to hear how this happened. Gemma, ASD rocks.